What if the version of you the world sees isn't who you really are? Your sun sign is more than just your zodiac stereotype. It's the core of your identity, your life force, the part of you that's meant to shine the brightest. But for many of us, that light got warped by expectations, by survival, by the need to belong. You were taught to be someone, but maybe not yourself. In this video, we're diving deep into the soul truth of your sun sign. Not the polished version, but the part that got buried beneath roles, rules, and repression. We'll explore the deeper meaning of your sun sign that no one ever told you, how your identity was shaped by conditioning, not choice, the false personality you've been performing, how that mask has sabotaged your confidence, power, and purpose, and how to deconstruct the lie and finally live from your truth. So grab your birth chart, find your sun sign, and let's uncover the version of you that's been waiting to rise.
You were born to initiate, to ignite, to lead from instinct, not permission. But somewhere early on, that instinct got labeled as too much, too intense, too impulsive, too loud, too bold. The Aries sun is wired to be first, not out of ego, but because your soul moves fast. This sun sign represents raw, divine life force. It wants to take risk, speak the unfiltered truth, blaze its own trail, and choose freedom over what's familiar every single time. But instead of being celebrated, you were often criticized or controlled. Your fire was managed. Your spirit was tamed. And so your identity became shaped not by who you are, but by who others needed you to not be. You might have learned to hesitate before speaking up, to suppress your anger, to second guess your instincts, to chase love by playing small, quieting your edges, or proving that you're not selfish, even when your soul is screaming for space, autonomy, and full expression. You started believing that strength equals danger, that your boldness equals recklessness, that your independence equals abandonment. Instead of trusting your raw power, you were taught to apologize for it. But Aries sun energy is divine power. It's the warrior spirit, the cosmic spark, the sacred archetype of becoming. Your true path isn't about approval. It's about permission to exist, to want, and to take up space. You came here to blaze a path no one else can follow. Not because you're rebellious, but because you're original. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned into was to believe, I'm too much. I have to tone it down to be loved. So you started contorting yourself into something more palatable, more agreeable, more digestible. So you may have found yourself softening your voice so others wouldn't feel threatened, doubting your leadership because it didn't look like tradition, apologizing for your intensity so others wouldn't leave, or suppressing your rage and calling it healing. And all the while, you performed emotional independence even when you were craving connection. Because Aries sun energy was taught early that needing others is weakness and that asking for help might get you rejected. So you became self-sufficient to survive, not to thrive. You created a personality that seemed strong, but it was secretly starving for validation and support. This false self says, if I'm vulnerable, I'll be seen as unstable. If I go after what I want, I'll be punished. If I live too boldly, they'll leave. And so you started hiding the very fire that was meant to liberate you. When your identity is shaped around not being too much, your power becomes fragmented. So you might delay decisions out of fear of being wrong. Stay in relationships where you shrink to keep the peace. Numb your instincts and overthink your next move. Or even swinging between burnout and boredom because you're afraid to fully commit to your path. You start second-guessing your magic. You outsource your truth. You overcorrect your boldness. And worst of all, you hide the part of yourself that already knows. Because at your core, Aries sun energy knows who it is. But when you've been told your instincts are dangerous, you lose trust in your natural power. You spend your energy managing perception instead of building your mission. And success starts to feel like survival instead of expression. The real you didn't come here to be liked. You came here to be lit by truth, courage, and divine instinct. The real you doesn't wait for consensus. The real you doesn't dilute your fire for comfort. The real you was born to move first, not because you need attention, but because you are the spark. You are the divine initiator, the sacred disruptor, the truth speaker, the freedom forger, the pioneer of paths not yet walked. Your soul was never here to repeat. It was always here to begin. And when you stop apologizing for your power, your leadership becomes magnetic. Your courage becomes contagious. Your presence becomes permission for others to start living boldly too. The first step to achieving this is to reclaim the right to want. You've been conditioned to suppress your desires or to feel guilty for wanting more. But Aries sun is built to want boldly and act swiftly. Start small. Ask yourself what you want before asking what others need. Then give yourself permission to go after it, unapologetically. Next is to stop mistaking emotional independence for healing. You don't have to do it all alone. You were taught that needing help was weak. But your next level of power lies in safe connection. Practice asking for support before you're in crisis. Let others show up for you. This doesn't dim your fire. It strengthens your root. Next is to unlearn the shame around anger. Anger is not your enemy. It's your compass. Aries Sun energy holds sacred rage, the kind that breaks generational patterns and builds new worlds. Instead of suppressing it, learn to channel it into creative action. Let your fire clear what no longer serves. Next is to lead from your body, not your fear. Aries is embodied fire. When you override your instincts, you disconnect from divine guidance. Begin rebuilding trust with your body by listening to the yes and no in your gut. Let your first instinct be your first step, even if no one else understands it yet. And finally, release the fear of being too much. Your light is not up for negotiation. Every time you shrink, someone else's comfort wins over your destiny. Flip the script. What if your too muchness is actually your soul's exact instruction manual for how you're meant to lead? Let it be big, let it be loud, and let it be you. A great affirmation for your Aries Sun is, I trust the fire inside me. I don't need to be tamed to be loved. I lead from truth, not apology. Let's talk about it. What did this unlock for you? Be sure to comment and let it out. And of course, hit that like button, send this to someone who needs it, and subscribe for more star-powered clarity. And if you're tired of guessing who you are and ready to actually know, my As Above, So Within journal hands you the questions your soul's been trying to ask. So be sure to grab it in the link below and meet the real you. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You were born to ground, to create stability, to build something lasting, not just for yourself, but for others. The Taurus Sun is a builder of value. It seeks peace, beauty, simplicity, and consistency. But somewhere along the way, that peace became confused with control. That simplicity became mistaken for safety. That consistency became code for self-denial. Your identity may have been built around being the calm one, the one who holds it all together, the one who doesn't make waves, the one who stays even when it hurts, the one who always makes the practical choice. And in a world that values speed, chaos, and constant change, your stillness may have been seen as laziness, your loyalty as stubbornness, your pace as resistance. So you learned to equate worth with stability, success with safety, identity with usefulness. You learned to play the long game, even if it meant quietly suffering inside. The weight you carry is the belief that you must always be the rooted one, even when your soul is asking to be moved. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, If I stay still, safe, and needed, I'll be secure and I'll be loved. You built your identity around being the unshakable one, the one who endures, the one who doesn't need much, doesn't ask for much, and doesn't change too fast. You became the protector of peace, even at the cost of your own growth. So you may have found yourself staying in relationships long after your soul outgrew them, settling into jobs that offered comfort but crushed your spirit, avoided risk that might have unlocked your brilliance, or repressed your true desires because they felt too disruptive or unrealistic. The more life asked you to change, the harder you held on to what you knew, even if it wasn't working. You started believing that your ability to endure was your identity, that your resistance to change was wisdom, that your comfort zone was your destiny. But comfort isn't the same thing as fulfillment, and stillness isn't the same thing as alignment. When you cling to what's known just to feel safe, you end up living small in a life you've outgrown. So you might say yes to what's familiar instead of what's aligned. You might avoid opportunities that require a leap of faith, even if they're everything you've prayed for. You might stick with outdated routines or habits because they feel secure. You might even downplay your desires so you don't rock the boat. Success becomes synonymous with not losing what you have, instead of boldly creating what you truly want. This loop convinces you that change equals instability, even though your soul is craving evolution. You sabotage yourself not by failing, but by refusing to try, by mistaking your comfort zone for your calling. And eventually, life has to shake you up because you're too good at staying still. The real you is not here to just have peace. You are here to become peace by aligning your outer world with your inner self-worth. You are the earth in human form, magnetic, fertile, slow to erupt, but unstoppable when you do. You are not meant to stay stuck. You are meant to create stability from within, not by controlling your external environment. The real you builds beauty on your own terms. They create abundance through aligned desire. The real you moves slowly because you choose presence, not because you fear change. The real you attracts deeply because your energy is rooted, not performative. When you release the lie that you must be predictable to be safe, you unlock your true Taurus superpower, which is sustainable evolution. Your strength isn't in resisting change. It's in knowing your value no matter what changes. The first step to achieving this is to separate comfort from alignment. Start asking, is this actually good for me or just familiar? Is this who I am now or who I used to be? Begin practicing micro movements toward new desires, even when they feel uncertain. Next is to redefine stability as self-trust, not external control. Let go of the belief that safety only exists in predictability. Real stability comes from knowing that you are your own anchor, not your relationship, not your job, not your routines. Next is to let desire be the compass, not the distraction. You were taught to feel guilty for wanting more. But your Taurus energy is meant to create richness in love, in life, and in purpose. So instead of suppressing your desires, start honoring them as sacred instructions from your soul. Next is to take one aligned risk at a time. You don't need to burn it all down. You just need to move forward, one conscious, rooted step at a time. Choose the risk that feels most exciting and most terrifying. That's the edge where your expansion begins. And finally, release the identity of the provider only. You are more than just what you give. You are more than your reliability. You don't have to be useful to be worthy. Make room to receive attention, love, praise, and support. Your nervous system doesn't have to earn it first. A great affirmation for your Taurus sun is, my peace is not what I cling to. It's in what I choose from my worth. I release the need to play it safe and trust myself to grow. What part felt like I was reading your chart out loud? Be sure to tell me in the comments. And of course, if this lit you up, hit like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you never miss the next download. And if you're done running old versions of yourself, my As Above, So Within journal helps you to figure out who you are now, not who you used to be. So be sure to check it out. The links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You were born to translate the chaos of the world into clarity, to observe, learn, and weave meaning through language, connection, and curiosity. The Gemini sun is a master of mental alchemy, here to explore life through the mind, the voice, and the stories we tell ourselves and others. But somewhere along the way, your curiosity became performance. Your intelligence became a defense. Your voice became a mask. You were likely praised for being quick, witty, talkative, or bright, but punished or ignored when you needed depth, silence, or complexity. You may have been taught to stay light, stay pleasant, stay agreeable. You became the entertainer, the explainer, the one who made it all make sense. And yet, in all that expression, the world rarely asked what you really felt. You were encouraged to be interesting, not integrated. The weight you carry is the expectation to stay mentally sharp and emotionally neutral, even when your soul is begging for truth, depth, and rest. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, if I can understand it, explain it, or laugh about it, I'm safe. You learned to cope through cleverness, to dodge discomfort with distraction, to intellectualize what needed to be felt. You became the version of yourself who could talk your way through anything, except your own truth. So you may have bounced from one interest, job, or relationship to the next. Struggle to stay focused or grounded in your bigger purpose. Hidden your emotional intensity behind charm or humor. And you may have avoided vulnerability by over-explaining or keeping things light. You became addicted to movement, not because you're flaky, but because stillness might reveal the parts of you you've avoided. You became a mirror for everyone else without ever fully seeing yourself. And underneath it all is a quiet fear. What if I'm not as put together as I seem? When your mind is constantly chasing the next idea, the next connection, the next answer, you never actually land in your own power. So you might talk yourself out of intuitive nudges because they don't make sense yet. You might stay stuck in research mode, afraid to fully choose something. You might sabotage big opportunities by minimizing your gifts or pivoting too fast. And you might play it safe with shallow visibility rather than deep mastery. You become an expert at everything except what truly moves you. Your lightness becomes a way to avoid gravity. Your gift of expression gets buried beneath performance and perfectionism. And the longer you stay in your head, the more disconnected you feel from the thing you're actually here to do. The real you is not here to be digestible. You're here to be undeniable. At your core, Gemini's sun is a divine translator, a messenger of frequency. You are meant to integrate what you learn, not just collect it. To let your voice carry truth, not just cleverness. To choose intentional expression, not just endless commentary. The real you thinks deeply and feels fully. The real you uses words as spells, not distractions. The real you creates meaning through connection, not for approval. And the real you feels safe in your truth, even when it isn't neat or charming. You are here to elevate the conversation, starting with the one inside your own mind. You don't have to be on all the time. You just have to be real. The first step to achieving this is to feel before you translate. Before you explain, joke, or share, ask yourself, what do I actually feel right now? Don't bypass emotion through intellect. Let your inner world become part of the story that you tell. Next is to commit to completion. Choose one thing that matters and follow it through. A project, a practice, a relationship. Let yourself be shaped by devotion, not just curiosity. Mastery requires presence. Next is to speak with soul, not just skill. Your voice is powerful. Use it to share your truth, not just what sounds smart, funny, or marketable. Don't hide behind versatility. Choose vulnerability. Next is to unplug to hear yourself. Create moments of silence. Let your nervous system detox from input so you can access your wisdom. Meditation, journaling, and nature are portals back to your own frequency. And finally, redefine success as inner clarity. It's not about how many people you can impress. It's about how deeply your message aligns with your soul. Let your communication serve your purpose, not your performance. A great affirmation for your Gemini sun is, I release the need to explain myself and choose to express my truth. I trust what I feel, and I let my voice be a vessel for meaning, not just noise. All right, your turn. What part called you out the most? Be sure to drop it in the comments. I want to know. And of course, be sure to hit like, send this to your besties, and subscribe so you never miss your cosmic upgrade. And if you've been feeling lost, you're not broken. You're misaligned. My As Above, So Within journal guides you back to the version of you with standards, boundaries, and a pulse. So be sure to tap the link below to realign with your truth. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You were born with a heart calibrated to feel it all. Yours, theirs, and the collective. A Cancer sun holds the sacred blueprint for emotional safety, belonging, and soul-level nurturing. You are the cosmic keeper of memory, intuition, and the soft strength that holds entire worlds together. But early on, you learned that you had to be the container for everyone else's chaos. That love meant absorbing pain. That safety meant self-abandonment. Maybe your home was emotionally unpredictable, and you responded by becoming the stable one, the sensitive one, the caregiver, the shield, the one who could read the room, hold the pain, and never ask for too much. You weren't taught boundaries. You were taught guilt. And before you knew it, your entire identity was built around who you were to others, not who you were to yourself. The weight you carry is the emotional labor of everyone you've ever loved because you thought that was your job. The false identity that your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, if I care for everyone else, maybe someone will finally care for me. So you became the mother, the therapist, the emotional translator, the one who stayed soft even when it hurt. You told yourself it was your nature, but deep down, it was survival. So you may have found that you attract emotionally needy or unavailable people, confused enmeshment with intimacy, avoided confrontation to keep the peace, taken on guilt for things that weren't yours, or even put your dreams on hold for the sake of someone else's needs. Your sun got stuck in a loop of self-protection disguised as selflessness. You started to believe that being needed was the same thing as being loved. But when your identity depends on being the one who holds it all together, you end up falling apart in silence, unseen, uncelebrated, and misunderstood. When you prioritize emotional safety over emotional truth, you shrink your light to make others feel more comfortable. You become loyal to your past more than your future. So you might stay in jobs, relationships, or environments that don't nourish you. You may struggle to claim space or leadership, fearing rejection or guilt. You might defer your desires until everyone else is okay, which never actually comes. Or you may play small because shining too brightly feels like betrayal. Your gifts get buried under emotional obligation. You're seen as dependable, kind, sweet, but never fully powerful, because you've been taught that your power is a threat to the love you crave. So you protect everyone, but no one protects you. You are not here to be the emotional sponge. You are here to be the sacred sanctuary, starting with yourself. The real Cancer sun is not a martyr. They are a magnetic force of feminine intuition, sacred timing, and soul nourishment. You are here to create containers, not become one. To birth your visions into form, and to let your feelings lead you home to yourself. The real you feels deeply and honors your limits. The real you nourishes others from a place of overflow, not depletion. The real you channels emotion into creativity, leadership, and legacy. And the real you is fiercely loyal to your soul's vision, not just your family's expectations. You are here to redefine what home means and to remember that you belong in the story you've been writing for everyone else. The first step to achieving this is to reclaim emotional sovereignty. Your feelings are not liabilities. They're guidance. Let your emotions speak for you, not just through you. You don't have to absorb others to prove your empathy. Next is to define home for yourself first. You've been home for everyone else. Now build a life that feels like home for you. Let safety become an inner state, not something you earn through self-sacrifice. Next is to let guilt be a signal, not a sentence. Notice where guilt shows up when you prioritize yourself. That guilt is the echo of your conditioning, not the voice of your soul. Learn to feel it and still choose you. Next is to break the caretaker equals worthy loop. Your value does not depend on how much you give. Practice receiving. Practice asking. Practice letting others be uncomfortable while you honor your own energy. And finally, turn nourishment into a creative act. You're meant to birth more than just emotional stability. You're here to build visions. Create the thing you've been holding space for in others. Your dreams deserve nurturing too. A great affirmation for your Cancer sun is, I choose to be deeply seen, not just deeply needed. I nourish myself first, and from that fullness, I create the life and love I deserve. What part felt like I was reading your chart out loud? Be sure to tell me in the comments. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe so the universe keeps us synced. And you can't manifest a new life from an outdated identity. My As Above, So Within journal helps you see the patterns you're done repeating and the version of you that's ready to lead. So be sure to check it out. The links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. At your core, the Leo sun is here to shine, to express, to create, to lead with heart. You are meant to embody divine radiance and inspire others simply by being fully yourself. But the light you were born to beam into the world was often dimmed before it could ever feel safe. Early on, you may have felt like your worth was directly tied to how you were seen. Applause meant safety. Being impressive meant acceptance. Attention wasn't a luxury, it was survival. And so your identity was shaped around earning admiration instead of embodying authenticity. You learned to become the version of yourself that would be celebrated. The achiever, the performer, the one who always knew how to sparkle when the room went dim. But that light, it started to feel more like a job than a joy. The weight you carry is the pressure to always be on, to be inspiring, magnetic, put together, even when you're falling apart inside. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, I have to be extraordinary to be enough. So you became the person who over-delivered in every room just to feel valuable. The person who took up space but never felt safe doing so. The person who mistook validation for intimacy. The person who hid your struggles because you thought your power was only in your perfection. And the person who became addicted to performance because it was easier than vulnerability. You began to believe that love was conditional, that your softness, your insecurity, your quiet days made you less lovable. And in protecting yourself from shame, you built an identity around being the strong one, the talented one, the one who's got it all together. But underneath it all, you wondered, would they still love me if I wasn't impressive? The Leo sabotage loop is the cycle of overperformance followed by deep burnout and inner emptiness. You work so hard to be seen, but you don't feel truly known. You lead with confidence, but you second guess if any of it is real. You give your best energy to being exceptional and secretly resent that no one sees the effort it cost. So you might constantly fear irrelevance, even while others admire you. You might stay in situations that no longer align just to prove your worth. You might avoid deep emotional intimacy in fear of being exposed. And you might struggle with imposter syndrome because you're always acting like the version of you people expect. You self-sabotage by seeking validation instead of alignment. And the more you rely on external applause, the more disconnected you feel from your internal truth. You are not here to perform. You're here to embody. The true Leo sun doesn't shine because it needs the spotlight. It shines because it is the light. Your soul came here to lead with joy, to create from the heart, and to walk through life with childlike boldness and unshakable self-trust. The real you doesn't need to be extraordinary to be worthy. The real you leads from authenticity, not perfection. The real you is magnetic because of your wholeness, not your performance. The real you is safe to be tender, imperfect, and real, even in the spotlight. Leo's highest expression is creative sovereignty, the ability to be fully yourself, with or without applause. The first step to achieving this is to redefine what it means to shine. Your light doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to impress. Learn to value your presence without performance. Let your creativity come from joy, not pressure. Next is to let people love the real you, not the role. Drop the mask. Let someone in on the messy, unsure, human version of you. Let them see your doubt, your dreams, your soft side, and watch how your relationships deepen. Next is to uncouple achievement from approval. You are allowed to be great without having to prove it every single day. Your value is not tied to how much you're doing or how many people are clapping. Rest is not irrelevance. Next is to create without expectation. Make things because they move you, not because they'll perform well. Let your heart lead your art. Fall in love with the process, not the praise. And finally, stop mistaking strength for suppression. You don't have to hold it all together to be respected. Vulnerability is strength. Honesty is magnetic. Let your truth be what people are drawn to, not just your confidence. A great affirmation for your Leo sun is, I am radiant without performance. I lead from joy, not pressure. My presence is powerful because it is real. Your astral confessions are welcome, so be sure to tell me what resonated most in the comments below. And if your chart was nodding along, be sure to hit like, share the love, and subscribe so we can do this again. And if you've been pretending you're fine while silently falling apart, my As Above, So Within journal is your turning point. This journal will help you face the real you, the one who's ready to rise. So be sure to check it out. The links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. Your Virgo sun was born to refine the world through your presence, to elevate, clarify, and align what's broken into something beautiful. You're here to hold sacred precision, to bring order to chaos, and to show others what true devotion looks like. But before that power could ever feel like a gift, it was distorted into a burden. You didn't choose to be the one who notices everything. You just became the one who had to, because someone needed to hold it all together. Your identity was shaped by the pressure to be responsible for everyone else's mess. Whether it was emotional, physical, or spiritual, you became the one who cleaned up what others refused to see. Not because you were asked, but because your nervous system decided it was safer that way. Being useful became your identity. Excellence became your armor. You didn't just help. You became addicted to being needed. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned into believing was, I'm only valuable if I'm fixing something. So you turned your brilliance into duty. You became the one who anticipates everyone else's needs before they're spoken. The one who always keeps things running smoothly, no matter the cost. The overachiever who self-corrects before anyone else can criticize. The helper who doesn't know how to receive. And the perfectionist who never feels quite done. Your entire personality was wrapped around proving your worth through usefulness. You learned to overfunction so no one could accuse you of not being enough. And even when you did everything right, you still feared it wasn't perfect. So you pushed harder. The wound wasn't that people didn't appreciate you. It's that you were conditioned to only be appreciated when you were in service to someone else. The Virgo sabotage loop is the cycle of overgiving, over-editing, internal depletion, emotional disconnection. You sacrifice your own needs to prove your value, but then resent that no one sees how much it's costing you. You become so focused on getting things right that you miss the bigger truth, which is your worth was never supposed to be earned. So this can look like holding yourself to impossible standards that kill your creativity, staying in one-sided relationships just because you feel needed, avoiding being seen until you're ready, which never comes, burning out because you're constantly overextending and under-receiving, or even sabotaging your own happiness because you feel guilty when things feel easy. You mistake self-neglect for humility and overfunctioning for success. But your soul didn't come here to be efficient. It came here to be free. The true Virgo sun is not a fixer. It's a devotional artist of the human experience. You are here to elevate what you touch, to infuse purpose into the practical, to be a living example of what happens when inner integrity leads the way. The real you doesn't need to be flawless to be powerful. The real you creates magic from the mundane. The real you is worthy even when doing nothing. The real you is safe to receive, rest, and be nourished. The real you heals others not through service, but through alignment. Your light is subtle, sacred, and surgical. You don't need to be loud to be luminous. You don't need to prove anything to be purposeful. You are the ritual. You are the refinement. The first step to your path of embodying your Virgo sun without the burden is to stop measuring your worth by your output. You are not a machine. Rest is not laziness. Ease is not failure. Start tracking your energy, not just your results. You are allowed to receive without earning. Next is to practice being seen in your incompleteness. You don't need to be polished to be powerful. Let people witness your process. Start sharing before you feel ready. Let your humanness be part of your brilliance. Next is to learn to disappoint with grace. You are not responsible for saving everyone. Say no without explanation. Trust that your presence, not your perfection, is the medicine. Next is to honor your body's wisdom first. Your nervous system isn't lying. Listen to your fatigue. Let your body lead your calendar. Choose rhythms over rules. And finally, channel your precision into purpose, not people-pleasing. Your discernment is divine. Use it for your soul's work, not as a weapon against yourself. Let your editing eye uplift your vision, not diminish your voice. A great affirmation for your Virgo sun is, I am already enough, even when I'm not fixing anything. My presence is purposeful, and my peace is sacred. Let's make this a full circle moment and share your biggest aha or ouch in the comments. And of course, your 3-second ritual, like, share, and subscribe to keep this energy coming your way. And your intuition has been whispering for months. My As Above, So Within journal will help you to finally hear it and act on it. So be sure to check it out. The links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You were born to bring harmony, to see both sides, to choose beauty, grace, and fairness, especially in a world that so often lacks it. The Libra sun seeks connection, not just with others, but with a sense of inner and outer balance. But very early in life, your identity became entangled with approval. Your light was dimmed beneath politeness. Your truth was buried beneath the need to belong. Your identity may have formed around being the nice one, the agreeable one, the charming one who never offends, never disrupts, never makes things uncomfortable. You may have learned that love is earned through likability, that being chosen is more important than being seen, that your value lies in how easy you are to be around, even if that means abandoning your own truth. The weight you carry is the belief that you have to keep the peace, even when it costs you your power. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, if I'm pleasant, pretty, and accommodating, I'll be safe and I'll be loved. You built your personality around palatability. You became the one they wanted you to be. You mirrored their energy. You adjusted your preferences, your voice, your truth, just to maintain the connection. And so you may have avoided difficult conversations out of fear they'd cause rejection. You may have prioritized other people's needs until you forgot your own. You may have gotten stuck in relationships where you were adored for your image, but not known for your soul. And you may have confused external validation with real intimacy. You became the projection of other people's ideals and slowly drifted further from yourself. You thought balance meant self-sacrifice. You thought love meant performance. You thought being agreeable was the same thing as being lovable. But there's a difference between being loved for who you are and being liked for who you pretend to be. When you filter your power through politeness, you become invisible in the places you're meant to shine. So you might say yes when your whole body wants to say no. You might wait for permission instead of trusting your own vision. You might water down your message so you don't offend anyone. And you may even build your brand, art, or business around what's trendy or likable, not what's true. You may find yourself liked, but not respected, included, but not chosen, visible, but not impactful. And the worst part is that you start resenting others for not seeing you, when deep down, you actually haven't fully shown up yet. This loop keeps you stuck in surface level success. Pretty, polished, performative, but not powerful. You sabotage not by failing, but by fading into roles that keep you pleasing, passive, and perpetually waiting. You are not here to maintain false peace. You're here to restore real harmony, and real harmony requires truth. The real you speaks with clarity and conviction, even when it makes others uncomfortable. The real you uses charm not as a mask, but as a magnet. The real you advocates for fairness, not just for others, but for yourself. The real you creates relationships based on mutual respect, not silent performance. Libra energy is the bridge between truth and love. Your power is in your discernment. Your beauty is in your boldness. You are here to create art, connection, and impact that stems from real integrity, not forced niceness. You don't have to hold it all together. You just have to stand in your truth and let that be enough. The first step to achieving this is to redefine harmony as honesty, not politeness. Speak the thing you're afraid will make you less lovable. Your truth doesn't destroy connection. It deepens it. Begin telling the truth, even when your voice shakes. Next is to stop trying to be chosen and choose yourself first. The craving to be picked vanishes when you remember your own power. Before bending to please, ask, do I even want this? Stop auditioning for roles you don't even enjoy playing. Next is to take up space, even if it's not graceful. You don't always have to be soft, sweet, or polished. Let your fire come through. Make the ask. Lead the room. Assert your needs. You're not here to be digestible. You're here to be felt. Next is to let real connection be messy. Love doesn't require perfection. Stop managing the image. Let people see the full spectrum of you. The indecisive, the passionate, the raw. The real ones will stay. And finally, build beauty from integrity, not performance. You have impeccable taste. Channel that into work that reflects your values. Create from what's real, not what's marketable. That's where your true magnetism lives. A great affirmation for your Libra sun is, I don't need to be perfect to be powerful. I release the performance and root myself in truth. The more I reveal who I am, the more I attract what's meant for me. What's the one part you're still thinking about? Be sure to leave it in the comments below. And of course, if this lit you up, be sure to hit like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for your next download. And if you can feel a bigger version of you trying to break through, stop ignoring them. My As Above, So Within journal shows you exactly who you're becoming and what you need to leave behind. So be sure to check it out. The links are below. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You were born to see what others avoid, to sense what others suppress, to walk straight into the shadows and pull truth from places most people pretend don't exist. But from early on, the intensity of your being became something to manage or hide. Your emotions were too much. Your instincts were too dark. Your presence was intimidating, even before you understood why. And so you learned to protect yourself by staying hidden, while staying hyper-aware of everyone else. Your identity may have formed around secrecy, self-reliance, and emotional control. You became the strong one, the private one, the one who doesn't need anyone, but notices everything. The weight you carry is the belief that being powerful means being alone, and that vulnerability is a liability you can't afford. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, I'm only safe if I'm in control of my image, my emotions, and every person who gets close. You built your personality around self-protection. You became someone who could survive anything, outlast betrayal, and read the room of an energy without saying a word. But in that survival, you may have learned to manipulate rather than trust, chosen power over connection, expected abandonment, so you kept people at arm's length, mistook emotional numbness for strength, and defined intimacy as danger and solitude as safety. You told yourself you didn't care. You pretended you didn't feel it. You wore emotional armor so long, you forgot you even had skin underneath. But none of it erased your sensitivity. It just taught you to turn your pain inward. And it robbed you of the deep, soul-level intimacy you were born to experience. When you build your success on survival energy, you don't trust what you've built. You stay in fight or flight mode, even when you're finally safe. So you might reject support because it feels like a trap. You may sabotage love the moment it starts feeling real. You may overwork to feel in control, then resent the people who don't see your struggle. You might hyperfixate on betrayal, abandonment, or envy, and create crisis to confirm those fears. Or you might stay hidden in your career until you're fully ready, only to realize you never feel ready. You end up achieving without fulfillment. You create impact, but no intimacy. You build an empire, but feel emotionally bankrupt. This is the loop. You want closeness, but sabotage trust. You want truth, but control every interaction. You want to be seen, but disappear before anyone gets too close. Your soul came here to transform, not just others, but yourself. To live a life so honest, so emotionally raw, so spiritually naked, that nothing false can survive around you. The real you feels deeply and loves fiercely. The real you has unmatched insight into the human psyche. The real you knows how to alchemize pain into purpose. The real you attracts soul-level connections and powerful rebirths. The real you doesn't need to dominate, because your presence alone is power. You are here to be powerful and open, strong and soft, intense and intuitive. The real you doesn't hide in the shadows. You use the shadows as a portal to truth, intimacy, and emotional liberation. The key to embodying your Scorpio sun without the burden is first to let people see the parts you've been protecting. Vulnerability is not a risk. It's your rebirth. Start small. Share a truth that scares you. Let someone witness you before you have it all figured out. Next is to release control to reclaim power. Real power doesn't come from manipulation or silence. It comes from presence. Practice trusting others without vetting every possible outcome. Loosen the grip. Next is to stop expecting pain and start accepting love. You don't have to brace for betrayal anymore. Every time you choose connection over self-isolation, you rewrite the story of your past. Let love disprove your fear. Next is to feel it all without making it a strategy. You don't need to transmute every emotion instantly. Let yourself just feel that grief, that longing, that desire. It's all of your power. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. And finally, channel your depth into creation, not control. Put your intensity somewhere sacred. Make art. Build something with meaning. Your energy isn't meant to be caged. It's meant to change lives. A great affirmation for your Scorpio sun is, my vulnerability is my strength. My emotions are safe with me. I release control and open to intimacy. Knowing my power was never in hiding. It was always in my truth. Okay, I've shared the tea. Now it's your turn. What resonated? Be sure to comment below. And be sure to hit like if your chart feels seen. Send this to someone who needs this clarity. And subscribe for your next cosmic reality check. And your chart already knows the truth. You just need a place to hear it. My As Above, So Within journal gives you the prompts to pull your clarity out of hiding. So be sure to tap the link below and check it out. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You came into this life with a fire that wanted to explore, expand, and evolve. Your soul was built for meaning, for momentum, for searching beyond the limits of what's been taught. But somewhere early on, that freedom became a burden. You may have grown up in a space where your questions made people uncomfortable, where your vision was too much, your curiosity too chaotic, or your truth too inconvenient. So you learned how to outrun what you couldn't change. You became the bold one, the funny one, the untouchable optimist who could talk their way out of anything. Your identity was shaped around a constant search for answers, for escape, for proof that there's something more. And the weight you carry is the pressure to never stop running, even if what you really need is to come home to yourself. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, I have to stay free, untethered, and above it all, or I'll lose myself completely. You learn to equate vulnerability with being trapped, stillness with failure, commitment with limitation. And so you may have performed optimism to avoid emotional depth, laughed off pain, and minimized your needs, kept people at a distance by always being on the move. You may substitute newness for intimacy, or chase answers instead of learning to sit with the unknown. You became a master of momentum, but only because slowing down felt like danger. Like you might feel too much, need too much, or worse, be needed too much. So you built a personality that was ever expanding, but not always emotionally present. Your false identity is built on the illusion that expansion means escape. So the moment things get too close, too still, or too real, you detach. You ghost your own goals. You laugh your way out of breakthroughs. You bounce from one thing to the next, hoping the next thing will be it. But nothing ever feels like enough. So you might abandon projects the second they require emotional investment. Push away relationships that threaten your freedom. Numb out with overactivity, travel, or distractions. Struggle to finish what you start because the high of the beginning fades. Or you might doubt your worth when you're not inspiring someone else. You get stuck in a loop of searching for meaning while running from your own. The fire burns out, not because it's gone, but because you keep directing it outward instead of inward. You're not here to escape life. You're here to elevate it. You're the philosopher, the teacher, the wisdom keeper, the one who can turn pain into perspective and perspective into purpose. The real you knows that truth is sacred, even when it's uncomfortable. The real you understands that freedom isn't about detachment. It's about alignment. The real you craves real connection that supports your growth and not limits it. The real you can hold paradox, nuance, and expansion all at once. The real you isn't afraid of commitment when it's rooted in shared vision. Your soul came here to be wildly alive and deeply anchored. To teach not from theory, but from experience. And to discover that the deepest truth you're here to explore is the truth of who you are when you stop running. The first step to embodying your Sagittarius sun without the burden is to first redefine freedom as alignment, not avoidance. Freedom isn't about resisting limits. It's about choosing what feels like truth. So ask yourself, is this path giving me space to expand or just helping me avoid? Next is to stop escaping through inspiration. You don't have to be everyone's guru. Give yourself permission to just be. Rest. Stay. Be unproductive. There's wisdom in your stillness too. Next is to let people witness the messy middle. Your power isn't in the polished version of your story. It's in the process. Let people walk with you before you figured it all out. Next is to finish something you started. Prove to yourself that you don't need constant novelty to stay fulfilled. See what happens when you actually land the plane, not just take off. And finally, anchor your truth in embodiment. Live your beliefs. Don't just preach them. Let your life reflect your values, even in the boring or hard parts. That's real spiritual freedom. A great affirmation for your Sagittarius sun is, I am free because I choose truth. My vision has depth. My spirit is grounded. I don't have to run to expand. I expand by coming home to who I really am. Did I just read your whole life? Be sure to drop a "That's me" below in the comments. And if you love this, be sure to hit like, spread the magic, and subscribe so you never miss a planetary truth bomb. And if you're tired of guessing who you are and ready to actually know, my As Above, So Within journal hands you the questions your soul's been trying to ask. So be sure to tap the link below and check it out. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. From an early age, you were tasked with holding it together, even if no one ever said that out loud. You became the emotional anchor, the responsible one, the one who gets it done. You may not have been allowed to be a child in the way others were. So you grew up fast, and somewhere along the way, you stopped asking for what you needed. Your identity became tied to competence, control, and composure. You learned to equate your worth with how much pressure you could handle. You carried the weight of everyone's expectations and called it strength. But beneath that quiet endurance was exhaustion. This wasn't about ambition. This was about survival. When structure was the only thing that felt safe, you built your personality out of it. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, if I'm not achieving, I'm not enough. And if I let go, everything will fall apart. You were conditioned to believe vulnerability is weakness. Your needs are inconvenient. Success equals safety. And that if you're not doing it all, you're failing. So you pushed harder, took on more, kept your emotions locked behind an internal fortress. You became the person everyone could rely on, but the cost was forgetting how to rely on yourself for emotional support. Even your dreams became coated in pressure. Even your peace had to be earned. The more you rely on your false identity, the more disconnected you become from your actual source of power. Because when your worth is tied to performance, you're only ever as good as your last achievement. You can never rest, not without guilt, and not without anxiety. So you might struggle to celebrate your wins because there's always something else to do. You may attract people who expect you to be the strong one, while your own needs go unseen. You might self-sabotage your happiness because it's not time yet. You may burn yourself out trying to hold everyone and everything together. And you may feel numb or emotionally blocked without knowing why. You get stuck in a loop of overfunctioning, where emotional suppression becomes your baseline, and success never feels safe enough to relax into. Your soul didn't come here to prove its worth. It came here to own it. You are here to embody a legacy of grounded power that is deeply internal, not just externally validated. The real you builds with purpose, not just for survival. The real you leads from inner alignment, not external pressure. The real you understands that true strength includes softness, rest, and slowness. The real you honors boundaries as sacred, both yours and others. And the real you creates safety not by controlling everything, but by deeply trusting yourself. You're not here to carry the world. You're here to build a new one that honors emotional truth just as much as ambition. One where your heart leads the structure, not the other way around. The first step to embodying your Capricorn sun without the burden is to release the need to earn your rest. Stop treating burnout as a badge of honor. Rest isn't a reward. It's your right. The more you rest, the more your vision expands. Next is to separate self-worth from output. You are not your productivity. You are not your role. Learn to feel proud of yourself even when you're doing nothing. That's real growth. Next is to soften your inner authority. Your inner voice doesn't have to sound like a drill sergeant. Learn to lead yourself with compassion, not criticism. Be your own safe place. Next is to let go of emotional perfectionism. You don't have to get it all together before being loved, seen, or supported. You are allowed to be vulnerable and still be powerful. And finally, redefine success around soulful stability. Ask yourself what truly feels stable, not just what looks impressive. Stability is built when your life reflects your emotional truth, not just your goals. A great affirmation for your Capricorn sun is, I am grounded in my truth, not just my task. My worth is not earned, it's embodied. I create from alignment, not pressure. I am allowed to rest and still rise. Let's make this a full circle moment and share your biggest aha or ouch in the comments. And if you love what you heard, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe so the algorithm and the universe keep delivering. And your chart already knows the truth. You just need a place to hear it. My As Above, So Within journal gives you the prompts to pull your clarity out of hiding. So be sure to tap the link below to check it out. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You were never just being yourself. You were observing, decoding, and adapting. From a young age, you felt different. Not always in a loud or dramatic way, but in that quiet, unshakable sense of being wired differently and somehow being responsible for managing that difference. So you became the one who stayed detached, Above it all, logical when others got messy. The observer, the intellectual, the one who wouldn't let emotions ruin the bigger picture. You learned to suppress your own emotional complexity to earn belonging through originality or innovation, not intimacy. Your identity became a reaction to invisibility. If people couldn't understand you, at least they'd respect your mind. You learned to lead with intellect instead of heart, independence instead of intimacy. And it worked, but at the cost of emotional oxygen. You weren't trying to be rebellious. You were trying to be free. But somewhere along the way, you stopped trusting that freedom could include connection. The false identity your sun sign has been conditioned to internalize is, I have to disconnect to survive. I'm safest when I'm untouchable, unavailable, or ahead of the curve. You were conditioned to believe that your feelings are inconvenient, so keep them hidden. To believe that fitting in means abandoning your truth. To believe that true intimacy always leads to control or disappointment. And to believe that people will only accept the idea of you, not the real you. So you became the outsider, the visionary, the one who could see everything but rarely felt seen in return. You built an identity on being ahead of your time, but that often meant you couldn't be fully present in your life. And slowly, the armor of cool disconnection started to feel like home, even when it hurt. Your disconnection can become a survival loop that keeps you brilliant but lonely, visionary but unfulfilled. You crave deeper resonance, but you also sabotage it by assuming that no one could ever truly understand the real you. So you might keep relationships shallow to avoid disappointment. You might intellectualize your emotions instead of feeling them. You may avoid asking for help, believing your needs make you weak. You may dismiss opportunities for love or visibility because they don't get me. Or you might build entire projects, careers, or movements and still feel like a ghost in your own life. You end up stuck in the same cycle, resisting conformity, craving belonging, but isolating yourself in the name of individuality. Freedom becomes your prison when you think you have to do it all alone. Your soul came here to embody liberated connection, not just freedom for the sake of escape, but freedom that includes wholeness. You are meant to inspire radical truth, spark revolution, and remind others that they are not crazy for being different. The real you doesn't just stand apart. You stand for something. The real you feels deeply, even when it's not convenient. The real you leads through authenticity. not performance. The real you builds new paradigms without abandoning the heart. The real you knows that community doesn't require conformity. You're not here to be detached. You're here to be disruptively real, to prove that you can be both brilliant and emotionally present, to redefine belonging so that no one has to abandon themselves to experience it. The first step to achieving this is to let your emotions exist without needing to explain them. Stop overanalyzing your feelings. You don't have to justify your heart. Just let it speak, even if no one else understands it yet. Next is to challenge your inner narratives about intimacy. Not everyone wants to control you. Start noticing when you assume closeness equals danger. Give safe connection a chance to prove you wrong. Next is to drop the coolness armor. You don't need to be fascinating, aloof, or unbothered to be loved. Let people see your warmth, your weirdness, your heart. That's your real magnetism. Next is to build connection around shared truth, not shared roles. Your people are out there, but you have to stop shrinking your soul to stay relatable. Show up as you are, not who you think they want. And finally, redefine freedom as emotional permission. Freedom doesn't mean escaping feelings. It means being allowed to feel all of them without judgment. That's when you become unstoppable. A great affirmation for your Aquarius sun is, my truth doesn't need to be palatable to be powerful. I am not here to fit in. I am here to set myself free and bring others with me. My presence is the revolution. This is your cosmic check-in. Drop your thoughts and takeaways in the comments. And be sure to smash that like button if this gave you chills. Send it to someone on their healing journey, and subscribe for your weekly cosmic medicine. And if you've outgrown the life around you, this journal is your reset. My As Above, So Within journal helps you get crystal clear on what actually aligns with the person you're becoming. So be sure to tap the link below to start the shift. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. You were born to dissolve boundaries between worlds, to feel what others can't, to see beyond what's obvious, to intuit the emotional undercurrents no one else notices. But very early in life, your sensitivity became a survival tool instead of a superpower. Instead of being encouraged to exist as your own person, you learned to adapt, to absorb, to merge, to shapeshift. Your identity was formed not through self-definition, but through emotional osmosis. You became what the room needed. You softened yourself so others felt comfortable. You learned to disappear so no one would be upset. disappointed, or overwhelmed. Your sun was born to be a channel, but the world taught you to become a sponge. So instead of building an identity from your soul, you built it from accommodation, from caretaking, from intuition you were never taught how to manage. You learned to survive by being fluid. So fluid that your own desires, boundaries, and truth sometimes dissolved in the process. The weight you carry is the belief that you must absorb the world to belong in it. The false identity your sun sign was conditioned to believe was, my value comes from how much I can give, soothe, understand, or heal. You were conditioned into being the empath, the rescuer, the fixer, the dreamer who doesn't make demands. You learned to quiet your voice so you wouldn't disrupt anyone else's reality. You learned to make yourself small so others could feel safe. You learned to carry emotions that were never yours and call it compassion. And so you may have stayed in confusing or draining relationships because you saw potential. You may have taken responsibility for pain you didn't cause, or avoided decisions because choosing felt like abandoning someone. You may have lost your sense of direction trying to please everyone at once. And you may have mistaken your intuition for obligation. You became the person who floats, bends, absorbs, because standing firmly in yourself felt dangerous, selfish, or impossible. What you believed was kindness was actually self-erasure. What you believed was spirituality was actually avoidance. And what you believed was love was often self-abandonment. When your identity is built on dissolving into others, your own dreams never get the devotion they deserve. So you might avoid opportunities because you fear disappointing someone. You may lose momentum by drifting instead of committing. You might stay unclear or vague about your goals to avoid pressure. You may overgive until you're drained and then withdraw completely. Or you might escape into fantasy because reality feels too heavy to shape on your own. Pisces moon's sabotage is subtle. It's not failure, but fog. You don't sabotage by doing the wrong things. You sabotage by doing nothing long enough to lose your path. Your brilliance dims when you're too busy managing emotional energy that doesn't belong to you. Your dreams stall when you don't root them in structure. Your creativity gets lost when you're overwhelmed by everyone else's needs. This loop convinces you that your life will just unfold, but without your active participation, it dissolves instead of develops. The real Pisces sun is not here to disappear. You are here to illuminate. You are the mystic, the visionary, the intuitive guide, someone who channels truth from realms the rest of the world can't hear. Your sensitivity isn't meant to drown you. It's meant to direct you. The real you feels deeply without becoming consumed. The real you loves without losing yourself. The real you dreams with intention, not escapism. The real you creates with divine purpose, not emotional overwhelm. The real you sets boundaries that protect your magic. And the real you moves through life with spiritual clarity, not confusion. Pisces moon is the bridge between the human and the divine. But you can only bridge what you stand firmly inside of. Your truth is this: you are here to embody compassion with clarity, intuition with direction, and sensitivity with sovereignty. Your light was never meant to blend in. It was meant to awaken the world. The first step to embody your Pisces sun without the burden is to first choose yourself before you merge with others. Your empathy is sacred, but it needs direction. Before absorbing someone's emotions, pause and ask, is this mine to carry? This single question will save your energy, your time, and your identity. Next is to create boundaries that protect your magic. Your energy is powerful, but only when it's contained. Practice saying no without apologizing. Not every crisis needs your healing. Not every connection deserves your compassion. Next is to give your dreams a body, not just a vision. Bring structure to your creativity. Make a plan. Set a date. Choose a direction. Your spirituality becomes unstoppable when it's grounded in routine. Next is to let clarity replace fantasy in relationships. Stop falling for potential. See people for who they are, not who you can help them become. Discernment is your spiritual protection. And finally, trust your intuition without abandoning your logic. Your instincts are divine, but your sun needs to co-create with reality. So ask, what is the inspired step my intuition is asking me to take today? Spiritual alignment becomes practical progress. A great affirmation for your Pisces sun is, I honor my sensitivity without losing myself. My intuition guides me. My boundaries protect me. And my dreams choose me back. What hit you in the gut or the heart? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And of course, tap that like button, share the vibes, and subscribe so the stars always find you. And if life has been loud and your intuition has been quiet, this journal is where the volume flips. My As Above, So Without journal helps you shut the world out and tune you back in. So be sure to tap the link below to reconnect. I appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching.